Hi there, I'm Logan Medish, and this is High Caliber History. Now, perhaps the most famous duel of all time occurred between Founding Father, former Secretary of the Treasury, and retired two-star Army General Alexander Hamilton and the then-current Vice President Aaron Burr. The Albany Register had published a letter believed to have been written by Hamilton in which Burr was referred to as despicable. Burr challenged Hamilton to a duel as a result of this perceived slight of his honor. Now, before we get too far ahead of the story, we've got to go back to Europe for the birth of Robert Wogdon in 1737. Apprenticed to an Irish gunsmith at the age of 11, Wogdon was perfecting his craft under his own name by the age of 27. By the time Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr dueled each other in the early part of the 19th century, Wogdon had just begun to enjoy his retirement, having become the most recognized name in the gunsmithing world when it came to dueling pistols. In 1797, Alexander Hamilton's brother-in-law, John Barker Church, had obtained an exquisite pair of custom-made dueling pistols made by Wogdon. The guns were outfitted with octagonal barrels, walnut stocks, and even had several special features, including hammer safeties and both front and rear sights for a more precise shot. Now, it's been said that the guns had so-called secret hair triggers, but in reality, this is what we know just as a set trigger, and it was common on dueling pistols of that era. Wogdon was well known as a maker of these high-end pistols, and a poem written in 1783 by an Irish volunteer was titled Stanzas on Dueling, and it began with the line, "Hail Wogdon, patron of that leaden death." By the time Hamilton and Burr used these guns, they'd already been used in a number of duels. One, in 1799, was actually between Aaron Burr and the gun's owner, John Barker Church. The other, in 1801, was between George Eaker and Hamilton's son Philip. Gathered at Weehawken, New Jersey on July 11, 1804, Hamilton and Burr prepared for the duel. Hamilton fired the first shot. He missed Burr and struck a tree near him. There's a lot of debate surrounding whether or not he missed on purpose. Burr then fired his pistol. He hit Hamilton in the lower abdomen with the .54 caliber lead ball. Hamilton died the following day in New York, aged either 47 or 49 years old, based on the varied accounts of his year of birth. Burr was charged with murder, but the charges were dropped. He finished his term as vice president in 1805 and lived to be 80, dying in 1836. The pistols were passed down through John Barker Church's family. Like many pistols of that era, they were modernized, or at least one of them was. One gun was converted to percussion, and the other remained in its original flintlock configuration. This was likely done by Church's grandson, and the heavy brass forends that the guns now wear are also believed to have been later alterations. The pistols remained in the Church family until 1930, when they were sold by Church's great-granddaughter, and they were purchased by the Bank of Manhattan Company, which today is known as J.P. Morgan Chase. And I'm sure the bank has records of how much they paid for the pistols, but they aren't saying how much that was. Since 1930, the guns have been on permanent display in their headquarters in New York City, except for two brief periods of loan, one to the New York Historical Society and one to the Smithsonian's National Postal Museum in 2018, which is when I was able to see them and take the pictures used in this video. So I hope you learned something about the Robert Wogdon dueling pistols here and the guns that were used in the most famous duel in all of history. If you learned something, please share this with someone else you think might enjoy it. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and we'll see you right here on the next episode of High Caliber History.